Okay, shalom, shalom. Kwam Yasha'Allah, Koholoim La Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Chachachudash. Double honors to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and that by the Spirit taught us this beautiful truth, and just want to take the water toward the H.I.M and Ahwaf that's out here sincerely keeping the laws, the statutes, and commandments of Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai to the best of their ability. This is Yachanan Nawach, just coming at you with another quick lesson, praying that it's edifying by the Spirit. And this article is in Al Jazeera. Seen it in a couple of other hookups too. But it says Turkiye, which I'm trying to think of, like, why they spell it like that. Is that like the original way of spelling turkey? I always thought it was spelled like how you actually spell turkey that you eat, but maybe I'm wrong. I looked that up. It says Turkiye says Iranian ballistic missile intercepted by NATO air defenses, and this supposedly be the second one, right? They said that the other day that it was one that had came in. And so let's get into a little bit of it. The Turkish Ministry of National Defense says NATO air defenses have intercepted a ballistic missile launched from Iran towards Turkiye. I don't know why I spell like that. As concerns grow that the United States-Israel war against Iran will escalate. The missile was intercepted on Monday over the Sahibe district of Gaziantep in southern Turkiye. The ministry said in the statement, no casualties or damages were reported. Akari emphasized its capability and determination to protect national airspace and border security, while warning that further escalation in the region must be avoided, the statement said. The ministry also urged all sides, especially Tehran, to refrain from actions that could endanger civilians or undermine regional stability. Well, why are you focused on Tehran? Shit, they didn't start the shit. Focus on everybody else. Focus on America. Tell them niggas. Tell Israel. It says Monday incident was the second time an Iranian ballistic missile was fired towards Turkey since the U.S. and Israel launched a war against Iran on February 28, according to the local authorities. So see, it says U.S. and Israel launched a war against Iran. Talk to them. Like, you know, all the disruption is because of these motherfuckers that launched the hookup to begin with. Okay, but it says the U.S.-Israeli attack have prompted a wave of Iranian missiles and drone strikes across the wider region, including on targets in the Arab Gulf countries. Iranian President Mossad Pezeshkian, is that him right there? I don't know if that's the guy, spoke with his Turkish counterparts Recep Tayyip Erdogan on Monday, according to a readout of a discussion shared by Iran's semi-official Tasnim news agency. Tehran is ready to establish a joint team to investigate the claims that an Iranian missile was fired into Turkey in an effort to maintain close ties between the two countries, the statement said. Because you got to realize Turkey going to play a huge part in America, Israel being destroyed anyway. They're going to play that part right along with Russia. And Iran is not fucking with Turkey like that, man. And you know what? Last week or a few days ago, when they said that first one had struck, they were basically saying that this is false flag from the Israeli side or American Israeli side, where they're trying to make it Article 50. I think, what's it called? Article 55, I think it is. Salaki if I'm getting it wrong. But basically, the agreement with NATO is that if one NATO country is struck, then all NATO countries are involved. It's like the 30 countries or so that are involved with NATO. If one of those countries are struck by any other opponent, then all nations get involved. So, and that's what they were saying about Israel, America trying to basically sneakily say that, okay, Turkey was struck. That's a NATO nation. We got to all get involved now. Because you got countries, allied countries that's in NATO that's not fucking with Trump and them on this, man. They're not fucking with Trump, America and Israel on this war, man. They like it was ill-advised. You didn't contact any of us. You didn't say, hey, we're about to do this, and this. You just struck. And now all of a sudden, all of our economies are fucked. So you had, I think, Britain, France, I think Italy. They kind of got involved because a couple of their spots were struck over in the, the Middle East area, or what they would call Middle East. It's actually Western Asia. But the thing of it is these Edomites, especially Amalek, they're known for propaganda of false flags and causing discord among brethren. And that's what I wanted to get in the article, because when I was reading it in the Apple News. It says that of course Turkey and Iran got they had a phone call, and they basically was like, the discord. When you get into that word discord, it's separation or causing division amongst a family or amongst brotherhood or amongst just causing strife and contention amongst people when it wasn't there before. It's like a nigga just come in and you and your homeboy, y'all cool, and this nigga, he's speaking in your ear, he's speaking in your boy ear, and it's kind of like on the side, he taking your boy out the drinks, and y'all kicking it. Then he's taking out your other homeboy out for drinks and kicking it. He's saying he said this, he's saying he said that, and then all of a sudden you looking at each other sideways, and this nigga standing back like, yeah, I got him. So, and I want to get that, because that's the point that I wanted to get to. I was trying to see, was it in this article, because I had to shift to another article, because when I seen it in Apple News, it made me shift, because it wanted me to, never done that before. I didn't want to, because I can't get the Apple News on my Android like that anyway, but I don't know. But anyway, let's see. It says, Tehran is ready to establish a joint team to investigate the claims. Yeah, and they should, because they actually are saying, Trump just said that Iran bombed their own girls' school night before last year. Him and Peach Hegseth. They're like, well, what do you think about the bombing of the killing of the 170 or so elementary, school girls or whatever? And Trump was like, from my understanding, Iran done it. Like, why the fuck would they bomb their own children when your ass was the first ones to set it off, man? But that's how they get down. Okay, it says, in an effort to maintain close ties between the two countries, NATO spokesperson Alison Hart, here you go, you got these chicks involved, had confirmed earlier on Monday that the military alliance had intercepted a missile heading to Turkiye. Well, okay, it was headed there, or what do you mean? Like, was it something in between that they have already been bombing before it gets to Turkiye? I'm gonna have to look this up too. Like, or were they directly trying to hit the capital of Turkey? Or trying to hit some spot in Turkey? It's just saying that it was headed towards, right? And that's that wording. So you got to watch Esau. See, let me get this real quick. I know I've been kind of kicking it. Let me get a quick script real quick. You have to, I'm going to come back to this Proverbs 6. This is 2 Corinthians 2:11. And it reads, lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. If you're not privy to, or if you're not on point, or if you haven't noticed how this man gets down, his game plan, you have to, because the Lord, he gives the men, the prophets, the mindset of knowing the enemy and studying the enemy, because that's why the Lord said to watch and pray, and to, basically blesses the man that read. The more you read the scriptures and you find out about Esau, you find out that he's a slippery, sneaky ass snake. And we're not ignorant of Satan's devices. We're not ignorant of his schemes and how he gets down. He coordinates shit on a level that people wouldn't think that you would, but the men of the Lord, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Shah, we peep this guy. We know how he gets down. We see his tactics. We know how he gets down. We know that he's the physical counterpart of Satan on the planet, man. We knows that he's the father of lies. He he's a murderous, treacherous bastard. And nothing is nothing. There's nothing he won't do, man. That's wicked. He's the physical counterpart of Satan on this planet with wickedness, man. He is the wicked. The scripture says that the earth is given into the hand of the wicked, man. Look at them Jeffrey Epstein files. Look at them old ass men, man. Them dudes, they doing it all. They doing it all. They're the ones that's in control of your movies, your music, your food, your motherfuckers has got total control over the whole population and the sexualized and have pretty much overall just fucked up everything, man. And it's through them. You can't get around it, man. So we're not ignorant of Satan's devices, man, when it comes straight down to it. Let's go a little bit more in here. Okay, it says NATO spokesperson Allison Hart, which if that's a bitch, you know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, let's see. Because a couple of these names I haven't pulled up. I may not be able to go into it like that. But if not, sorry, it's not letting me click onto it. But sounding like a chick. You know, the scriptures talks about a woman not usurping authority over a man. Esau, the so-called white man, he gives the woman the authority to move about and be in office and be over militaries and combat and all kinds of other shit. Like, bitch, you sitting there, like, what do you, like, come on, bro. There's no way that you should be there because the Lord didn't set it up like that. That's how you know Esau, he's adverse. That's what Satan means. Satan is an adversary. That's what the word Satan actually means, adversary. Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, he's an adversary to the scriptures. He's an adversary to the Lord. Because when you look at the planet and him using the Bible, you can see clearly that he goes totally against the scriptures. Right? Let me get that on Psalms 50 and 16 real quick. I'll come back to this. Just to improve all things. You got women all in charge of shit. Sitting there like they just don't know what the fuck going on. Psalms 50 and 16. But unto the wicked, Yahweh saith, what hast thou to do to declare my statutes, or that thou shouldest take my covenant in thy mouth, seeing thou hatest instructions and castest my words behind thee? What are you doing with the Bible? You hate what I'm saying, is what the Lord is saying. Because you got these women, they'll tell you they Christians. You read that scripture to them, they'll tell you, they looking all past that. They don't want to hear nothing about they should be at home and taking care of children. Here you got this man's kingdom where women are out here. They either struggling single parent family homes by themselves because of the Esau Edom, or you got women that's out here, they got careers and got they fucking, if they got a man, he at home taking care of the kids. Just totally off. But that's this man's kingdom. But let's get some more in here. Okay, so I guess she says NATO stands firm in its readiness to defend all allies against any threat. Okay, so what NATO country or what country that's a part of NATO actually shot down the missile? Because Turkey can handle themselves. Turkey is secondarily, I think they're second to America when it comes to top military might in NATO. So it's not saying that Turkey shot down a missile. They're saying that it was a missile headed that way. Okay, so headed that way, but where was it supposed to be landing at? What target was it supposed to be hitting? Was it supposed to be hitting a target before Turkey? But see, that this is that wording that they use because they're trying to push that Article 55. I think that's what it's called. Okay, but it says NATO defense. Iran denied firing a ballistic missile towards Turkey on Wednesday after Turkish authorities said NATO air defenses shot down a projectile over eastern Mediterranean. NATO condemned that launch, expressing its full solidarity with Turkey. So see, this is where they cause that discord among brethren. But see, that Turkey president, he's not going for that shit because he don't like America. He don't like Israel. He knows the game. You don't think that he don't know the game? You don't think that he don't know? And actually, he would be more offended that they're trying to play him because that's exactly what they're trying to do. They're trying to play him like he's stupid as fuck. Like, you think that Iran really shot some shit into Turkey and they share the same interests? Because they do share the same interests. Come on, bro. It says, this is a tangible demonstration of alliance's ability to defend our populations against all threats, including those posed by ballistic missiles, NATO said. Okay, but what country shot the shit down? It's Article 5. I say Article 55. Article 5 of the Alliance North Atlantic Treaty says an attack on one NATO country will be considered an attack on all. So you don't think that the president of Turkey is going to not see through this bullshit? Because it's been a lot of, they slippery, they slouching right now. They're really looking real bad. It's a lot of shiesty, shady, underhanded, not put together well shit that's going on with this shit that Israel and America is doing right now. It's not well put together. They're sloppy as hell. You don't think that Turkey don't see through that shit? They already got the side eye on both of y'all. They already got the side eye. Now you trying to make it seem as if they shot a missile into Turkey, as if it landed in Turkey. Oh, you shot it down, headed to Turkey? Well, what's all in between there? Because they've been hitting a whole bunch of American shit in these spots, man. But anyway, Article 5 of the Alliance North Atlantic Treaty says an attack on one NATO country will be considered an attack on all. It also commits each NATO member state to taking action deemed necessary to restore and maintain security. So you under that contract, right? It's a contract that, you know, Turkey got to get involved, and it could come to a point of, because we know that Turkey going to play a part in separating. They already pretty much, they like, fuck y'all, man. But this could push them into, because they're going to feel like, okay, what are you trying to get us into? Because y'all getting fucked over. Y'all getting your asses handed to y'all right now. So you trying to sneakily get us involved with your Article 5 shit? Well, okay, if it's Article 5, then where the other 29 NATO nations at? Where's the other nations at? Why aren't they? And which one of you nations shot that missile down? Let's see if they say, because I ain't seen that. Which one of you nations shot the missile down for Turkey? Right? Okay, but it says, in an interview with Reuters News Agency last week, after the first ballistic missile heading towards Turkey. See, it said heading towards Turkey was shot down. NATO chief Mark Rutte said there was no talk of invoking Article 5. Well, why isn't it any talk of invoking it if it's going to Turkey? Because you had to invoke it if that's your agreement. Iranian authorities have said they are firing at U.S. military bases and other U.S. and Israel-linked targets across the region in self-defense, but civilian infrastructure has also been attacked. Iran's targets are not just U.S. bases. They are, in fact, primarily large-scale infrastructure and civil targets as well, said Rob Penfold, a lecturer in defense studies at King's College London. This is not a mistake. This is by design, Penfold told Al Jazeera, explaining that Tehran is seeking to unleash as much chaos as possible to destabilize the region and global markets in an effort to force Washington to abandon the war. Well, they don't have to strike Turkey for that. They already got the Strait of Hormuz. That's all they got to do is hold that shit down. They holding down them oil barrels, man. Shit, they good. They ain't got to be striking nowhere. They've already struck what they need to strike. Them radars, them blinded America. So America really getting their asses handed to them. Israel getting their asses handed to them. So sneakily, underhandedly, they're trying to push Turkey to, this article, because we shot down a missile headed towards Turkey. As if Turkey didn't know a damn missile was coming towards them. Get the hell out of here, man. Turkey got the best defense as far as, because actually Turkey got the S-400s, probably the S-500s now from Russia. Missile defense systems. And they got those from Russia because they spent a bunch of money on getting the Patriot missiles from America, which is an ally, and America fucked them over. Didn't give them the damn didn't give them the systems and didn't give them their money back. So they remember stuff like that. They know that you Edomites, you so-called white people, are pieces of shit, man, and you don't keep your word. Okay, so it says, we've seen that Iran is targeting every single Gulf Cooperation Council state. It's prepared to burn its bridges with all of them to pursue this uncertain and high-risk strategy, he said. It really shows you how Iran feels like it's facing an existential threat. For them, this is a real do-or-die moment. Well, who the fuck is in a fight that don't believe that? knowing what you Americans have been doing, knowing what you Israelis have been doing. You done ran off into Venezuela. You know, you trying to make Canada the 51st state. You talking about taking over Greenland. You all in Ecuador. You all in Mexico. You talking about Cuba. You in all these different places. You're spreading yourself too thin in all these places. And these countries is like, and Iran been preparing for your bullshit. They've been knowing. They've been seeing you set up. They've been knowing that you and Israel been plotting. So they've been ready. And then once you hit them, now all of a sudden you trying to get some other countries involved with Article 5 as if missiles, like a missile. Did he actually even say that it landed in Turkey? Let me see. Let me go back to the top on that the first part. Let me see if I can find it. It says Monday, the incident was the second time an Iranian ballistic missile was fired towards Turkey. And you know too, Israel actually said that Turkey was, now from my understanding, Turkey is there basically a secondary threat. Let me see if I can find something on this. I might not be. They be scrubbing shit. Israel say Turkey was a threat. Let's see what pops up. Yep, it says prominent Israeli figures, including Prime Minister Naftali Bennett, in February 2026, have explicitly labeled Turkey a new Turkish threat. See that? And accused it of being part of a regional axis and a hostility similar to Iran. And why? What are you talking about? These are your allies. These are the allies. These are the allies of America. You know what I'm saying? So why would you be? But see, this is what these Israelis is on, man. See, these Israelis. That's why the scripture. Let me get that. It talks about how the least of the flock shall draw them out. What's that? Jeremiah 49. You have Jeremiah 49 and 20. Therefore, hear the counsel of Yahweh that he had taken against Edom. That's the biblical name for for these so-called white people. And Amalek is the biblical name for those so-called Israelis, which are Edomites. They're the top tribe of the Edomites. And his purposes. Let me start back from the top. Jeremiah 49 and 20. Therefore, hear the counsel of the Lord Yahweh. That's the true name of the Father when it's all caps Lord. And the true name of his son is Yahweh, which means that he's the Savior or Deliverer in the Paleo-Hebrew. So you have Yahweh, which means he exists, or the existing one. And you have Yahweh, which means that he's the Savior or Deliverer in the Paleo-Hebrew. Those are the true names of the Father and Son. Not no damn Jesus and Jehovah, man. Okay, it says, therefore, hear the counsel of Yahweh that he had taken against Edom, and his purposes that he had purposed against the inhabitants of Teman. Surely the least of the flock, that's those Israelis, the least of the flock, that 0.2% that they keep talking about they are on the planet, shall draw them out. Here you go, they supposed to be, or they say 2% of the population of the whole entire planet. Here you go, you got 2% of the planet running everything and owning everything over the other 98%. Come on, bro. It says, surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitation desolate with them. So you Babylonians, y'all about to catch the business right along with them, man, trying to defend them. Because people starting to see what's going on now. It's not what it used to be, man. Matter of fact, just that one that talks about how they're greatly despised. Obadiah chapter 1 verse 2. Behold, I have made thee small among the heathen. Thou art greatly despised. Whew. Yeah, man. And the AMP, the Amplifier, says, behold, Edom, I shall humiliate you and make you small among the nations. You are greatly despised. Yeah, and they're being humiliated. Trump looking doofy as hell right now, man. That dude, and you ain't seen Benjamin. You ain't seen Benjamin that are not a Jew. Mr. Mikowski or whatever the fuck his real name is. You ain't seen him. But yeah, this is what's going on. See, we're not ignorant of Satan's devices. They trying to throw Turkey in the mix because they try, you know, because they feel like Turkey is a threat already. But why would you be using that like, oh, we shot down some missiles going towards Turkey? Right? So it says, yes, prominent Israeli figures, including former Prime Minister Naftali Bennett, in February 2026, have explicitly labeled Turkey a new Turkish threat and accused it of being a part of a regional axis and of hostility similar to Iran. These statements reflect rising tensions with Israeli officials and media framing Turkey as a or in some cases the most dangerous enemy due to its criticism of the war in Gaza and its foreign policy moves in the region. See? Because they seeing you committing a damn genocide, and those are, you know, fellow Muslims, man. That's the thing. So you Edomites, you got Christians coming against you, Muslims coming against you, you Buddhists, Hindus, everybody pissed with you Edomites right now, man. You Egyptians and you damn Amalekites, man. Because y'all fucking up the whole program. You fucking up the economy. You fucking up the earth. People just trying to make money, move about, and keep their, you know. Here you go. You got people that's, you know, trying to so-called correct climate change. And here your ass go bombing everybody. You're like, well, man, where's the peace? Okay, it says the Axis accusation, Bennett and others have characterized Turkey as a hostile actor, aligning it with a regional bloc that threatens Israeli security. Context. And you don't think Turkey know this? You don't think that Turkey don't know that this was said? This rhetoric has intensified as Turkey has taken a strong stance against Israeli actions in Gaza and worked to strengthen ties with regional powers. Strategic realignment. Prime Minister Netanyahu has sought to form an hexagon of alliances, including countries like Greece and Cyprus, and you know they got their asses bombed by Iran too, specifically to counter what is perceived as an emerging radical axis, according to Al Jazeera media escalation. Pro-Israel media outlets, which you know that's just propaganda outlets. They're not gonna tell you that Israel getting their asses handed to them. They just, all they gonna tell you is they winning, they doing great, they're the best country in the world, and you should follow. Pro-Israel media outlets have increasingly described Turkey as the most dangerous enemy or a new rising danger in the region, particularly regarding its influence in the eastern Mediterranean and Syria. And yeah, well, hey, and that's mainly because they're Muslims, man. But I knew, I remembered them talking about this. So with them, think about that now. Think about it, because when I seen the hookup, it made me think of the Proverbs 6, because in that other article it says that they actually, that's what Iran was saying. They had a phone call, the presidents, you know, both leaders had a phone call, and they chopped it up, and they basically was like, you know, they trying to cause discord among brethren, basically. So let's get Proverbs 6. I'm going to start at verse 12. A naughty person, a wicked man, walketh with a froward mouth. He winketh with his eyes, he speaketh with his feet, he teacheth with his fingers. Frowardness is in his heart. He deviseth mischief continually. He soweth discord. And that's what Esau does, man. He causes discord among brethren. You know, he that's the reason why you have a South Korea, North Korea. He cuts in between your family. He gets you to arguing with your brother, and then next thing you know, y'all arguing and fighting with each other, and now you shooting missiles at each other. That's Esau. Same thing with China, Taiwan. Same thing with Russia, Ukraine. You know, so you know that's a tactic of Esau, man. That's a tactic of Amalek, man. He's king of causing discord among your brethren, or infighting amongst the family, man. He puts the mother against the father, the parents against the children, so on and so forth. So this is what this man has been doing forever. He's notorious for it. He's expert at it. And, you know, I mean, look at what he done to the so-called blacks. Or I would say Judites, you know what I'm saying? You so-called black people, you are from the tribe of Judah. But look at how he has done our household. He's got the woman against the man. Strong. She go hard body against the so-called black man. She hates the so-called black man, and she puts more effort towards serving the so-called white man and his race of people more than her own. But now she's starting to wake up and see that she's done wrong, and the shit is not working out, because now they push the men too far away. And it's actually prophetic as well. You know, a woman compassing a man. But see, it's gonna come to it now. It's gonna come to a point where, yeah, you're going to have to deal a lot. You know, it's going to be some of our women that's going to get with the elect men of Israel. You know what I'm saying? That's going to be covered, so to speak. But majority, 2/3 of our women, you know, or I say a nice majority of the 2/3 is going to be destroyed. They're going to be our women, because it's more women than men. You know, so, and that's what Esau has done, though. He has caused that discord among brethren. He puts black against white, or, you know, brown skin against, you know, darker skin against lighter skin people. He puts the women against the men. This man got gender wars. He got, you name it, financial wars, class wars. He puts the person with a couple more dollars in his pocket against a person with a few less dollars in his pocket. You know, you know, he puts the person against, you know, you might be driving a hoopty, your little A to B. You know, this nigga got a little, you know, a little something that's extravagant, and he got y'all against each other when the car do the same damn thing. It's both cars getting both people to the same, you know, to the same location. You know, but he causes that division. You know, he sets up, but you know, I mean, you do have amongst, you know, the Lord did set up everything in duality. So you do have rich and poor. You know, poor and rich, you know, up and down, wet and dry. Everything was created in twos or duality. The Lord is a perfect balance, according to Proverbs 11:1, you know. So Esau, he's really just doing what he's supposed to do. He was set up to cause discord. And then you would set us as Israelites, we're set up to counter that shit and to peep his desire. That's where the scriptures comes in at. That's why the scriptures are so powerful. That's why, you know, the Lord said to, you know, meditate on what he said day and night, and to, you know, not, you know, let this word get away from you. You're supposed to have this shit, you know what I'm saying? You're supposed to have this word, or the ways of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua wrapped around you at all times, moving about in the spirit, to counter the shit that Esau, because it's a adversary slash, you know, what's that in those superhero movies? You got a superhero and you got the villain. You know, the villain gonna use his tactics, what he's good at. You know, as a superhero, we're to use our tactics. You know what I'm saying? You know, and the word of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua is our most powerful weapon. Well, you know, the name. You know, just knowing Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua, put it that way. And his name, Yahweh, which again means he exists with the existing one, the true name of his son. Yahweh Shai means he's the savior or deliverer. You have to know those names. That's the most powerful thing that we can have right off the jump. Because the name of the Lord is a strong tower. Going off into Proverbs, I think that's 18. I think it's in Proverbs chapter 10 as well. But the Lord's name is a strong tower. The elect run into it and are safe, roughly paraphrasing. So you have to know the names, but knowing his name, with his name comes the power and might of his word. You know, the scriptures talks about where the king's word is at, there's power. Right? And then you tapping into wisdom. When you tap, I was thinking about this today, meditating on it today. You tapping into the Lord's wisdom. You're tapping into something that he used to create everything that you see around you. So just imagine once the bodies are changed, the law, statutes, and commandments are written on our minds and our hearts, that new covenant. Just imagine then, if we're able to tap into that wisdom now in a fleshly body, which is a corrupt body, and we're still able to get results. Just imagine when we're totally incorruptible and we don't have sin within us anymore. That's going to be crazy work. But anyway, just wanted to touch on this for a hot sec. Esau, man, he's trying to cause discord. It's slickness. And trust me, I haven't, you know, I've seen this guy, president of Turkey, and, you know, I've heard him speak before. He's probably one of the most poised presidents Other than, I would have to put in my, actually, as far as being poised, or, just being self, or, just having integrity, or, he seems as if he seems to be a wise leader. Next to him, I would say President Putin of Russia. And they far light years beyond somebody like Trump, man. Trump is not on no level with any of those guys. Shit, and you can tell the respect that Trump had for both of them. I seen shit. Trump pulled my man's chair out the last time they met. He pulled his chair up. He pulled his chair up. Pulled his chair like he was, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, nigga. And then and of course, he rolled out the red carpet for Putin. But it's certain people that he has to respect, because he can sense that power that comes off of them guys, man. Them guys, they move in a way that as a leader, you should be moving. Trump just all over the place. This nigga is the real cartoon president, man. But anyway, I'm going to end out there, man. I pray that the lesson was edifying. With that, Kwame Yasha Allah and a Bible ball.